Live from Chicago, this is News 3 Now's special coverage of the Democratic National Convention.
Right now, Vice President Kamala Harris and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz are in Milwaukee for a speaking event. This as other high-profile Democrats prepare to take the stage at the DNC tonight.
And I'd ask people, were you better off after 4 years of Donald Trump's leadership? I think most Americans would say yes.
Also, Republican Vice Presidential nominee J.D. Vance holds an event in southeastern Wisconsin ahead of Vice President Harris today. His message to voters there. We welcome you to News 3 Now at 6. Well, you are taking live looks inside Fiserv Forum in Milwaukee and the United Center in Chicago tonight. Both venues will be headlining some of the biggest stars in the Democratic Party. Well, good evening. It is day 2 now of the Democratic National Convention. I'm Eric Franke with Charlotte DeLeste, and we are here at the Lincoln Park Zoo in Chicago. After kicking off the convention yesterday, Democrats are now looking ahead.
The theme for the convention today is a bold vision for the future. Tonight, delegates will take part in a celebratory roll call where they will again nominate Vice President Kamala Harris as the Democratic Party's presidential candidate.
That's right. And as for the speeches, well, it is going to be another star-studded night for the Democrats, and that includes some big names within the party, and we have team coverage spread out in Chicago, even up I-94 in southeastern Wisconsin.
For more on what to expect from tonight's speeches here at the DNC, let's head inside the United Center, and that's where we find our Brady Mallory. Hi, Brady.
Well, it's kind of a miracle that I could hear you, because if you haven't noticed, there's like a full-on concert going on behind me. We just saw Common perform, and now the music is continuing as people are filling up their seats right now. But a lot of anticipation for some big speeches tonight. We will hear from former President Barack Obama and former President Michelle Obama. Now, a source familiar with them say they're going to use their speeches to get all in behind the ticket of Vice President Harris and Governor Walz. And a quote from one of those sources, they're calling this ticket precisely what the country needs right now. So we will hear from them and see how they unite the party behind them. And the Obamas are expected to underscore how high they think the stakes are heading into Election Day. A senior advisor to Barack Obama said the former president intends to continue to lend Harris a helping hand, working to move the needle with Democrats and persuadable voters. That could be key for this. Former First Lady Michelle Obama will emphasize she believes the vice president is one of the most qualified candidates to seek the presidency. And I've noticed a theme tonight. We just saw a video of former Trump voters rather, saying they're not going to vote for Trump again. So I think that will be a key theme tonight. We're hearing from several Republican speakers who will also take the stage tonight in support of the Harris-Walz ticket, crossing the aisle there. Two prominent speakers are from some key battleground states: John Giles, the mayor of Mesa, Arizona, and Jeff Duncan, the former lieutenant governor of Georgia. They will be joined by Olivia Troy, a former Trump White House national security official. So we'll see how some of those speeches might appeal to voters outside the confines of these walls, perhaps to the broader electorate who don't necessarily want to vote for Trump, but they don't necessarily align with Vice President Harris or Governor Walz either. So we will stay tuned for that as night 2 of the DNC continues. Eric and Charlotte.
Brady, thank you. Certainly a big night ahead at the United Center. Now we want to go to Milwaukee, where Vice President Kamala Harris and her running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, are preparing to speak tonight.
This will be her 7th visit to Wisconsin this year and 3rd since entering the presidential race. For more on tonight's event, let's go live to News 3 Now's Braden Ross at Fiserv Forum. Braden?
Hi guys, yeah, I heard Brady say it's a little loud in the United Center. It's just as loud here in the Fiserv Forum, the home of the Bucks. And it's honestly, it's weird because it feels like we were just here, a month ago covering the Republican National Convention here at the Fiserv Forum. But now it's all taken over in blue. And crowd sizes, of course, have been a big conversation throughout this entire campaign run, something that President Trump likes to talk about a lot. So I'm going to step out of the way and just show you a little bit of the crowd inside here. Some of the speculation about why they may have done this at the same time as the DNC is just to prove that they can fill 2 arenas at the same time, and it looks like they're kind of doing that. Although I will say behind us, which you can't see, there are the whole side behind us is pretty empty, starting to fill up, though. But I want to talk about some of the voters that we talked to outside today. Of course, they decided to come here to battleground Wisconsin, Harrison Walls, to reach some of these Wisconsin voters. And if you haven't heard, Wisconsin is going to play a massive part in this election. That's why they're here. But I talked to some voters outside about why they decided to come down. Let's hear what they said.
We just feel like the energy is there, and we want to be part of it. I think it's a wonderful opportunity to fill this arena and also to fill the United Center at the same time. And I think that's going to be a beautiful show of the solidarity of the Democratic Party.
Now, speaking of the Bucks, forward Chris Middleton and Bucks President Peter Feigin are also expected to speak here tonight, along with Milwaukee Mayor Cavalier Johnson and Representative Gwen Moore. Now, of course, Obama is also the headliner down in Chicago, and it'll be interesting to see how much this program here overlaps with the one down in Chicago. We'll have to see. We are not totally sure what the timing is looking like. I believe they're supposed to start here at 7. Of course, we know that doesn't always happen, so we will see what time they go on, although there is supposed to be an Obama watch party here after the fact. So all the people, this big crowd, we're assuming will stay to see Obama speak at the end of Kamala Harris's speech as well. So we will keep you updated, and we will stream both of those live on channel3000.com, kind of going back and forth as we can. But for now, I'm going to send it back to you guys.
Braden, thank you so much. So at the same time, a few 40 miles south, Republican VP candidate J.D. Vance held a rally in Kenosha.
But before that rally, he spoke exclusively with our political reporter, Will Keneally, and Will's covering some serious ground today. He is now back from Kenosha, joining us on the convention floor here at the United Center in Chicago. Will?
That's right, a lot of miles indeed. That's because we're tracking a couple of big political storylines here. Certainly both campaigns campaigning in our key swing state of Wisconsin amid the DNC going on here, as you can hear behind me, which is expected to give Democrats a boost in the polls, certainly. Now, we spoke with Vance, meeting with voters in a popular deli in Kenosha. We asked him how Republicans are looking to take back some of the momentum that Democrats are expected to get after this week.
In some ways, it's very simple, right? We've never had a presidential election like this where you have 4 years of one person's policies compared to 4 years of another person's policies. Are you better off after 4 years of Kamala Harris's leadership? I think most Americans would say no, right? Grocery prices are 20% higher. Electricity is 35% higher. Gas is 45% higher.
Now, Vance says it'll be a decision for America to return to what he describes as smarter leadership under a Trump administration. We spoke at length about the importance of the Midwest to this election and the Republicans' record on crime and safety. You can see that interview up online right now at channel3000.com. And I want to show you really quickly, as we are awaiting that roll call, we are right underneath the Georgia delegation. So at these microphones, within the next hour or so here, we're expecting to hear from the delegates and the delegations to take to the microphone to ceremonially nominate Kamala Harris and Walz as the Democrats' ticket for the fall. We'll continue to provide you coverage throughout the night, but for now, reporting from the United Center floor, Will Keneally, News 3 Now.
All right, great hustle there from political reporter Will Keneally, covering some ground, as we mentioned. Meanwhile, former President Donald Trump was in the battleground state of Michigan today, part of his counter-programming to the DNC. And from a sheriff's office, the former president promised to back police if reelected and get tougher on crime. Trump is in the middle of a battleground state blitz. Over the next few days, he's scheduled to hold events in North Carolina, Arizona, and also in Nevada.
Back here in Chicago, more security fencing is being installed near the United Center. This comes after protesters broke through the outer security fence on the first day of the convention. Surveillance video shows whole sections of snapped-together iron fencing being taken down and in some cases dragged away by protesters. In total, 13 protesters were arrested. The DNC Public Safety Joint Information Center says the inner perimeter was never breached and there was no threat to any of the DNC delegates.
All right, on a bit of a lighter note, during tonight's roll call at the United Center, Governor Tony Evers will introduce the Wisconsin delegation on national TV and take a look at what they'll be wearing. That's right. What else? Cheeseheads. Wisconsin Democrats handed out the foam Packers cheeseheads to each delegate today with instructions to wear them when the cameras are on Wisconsin tonight. 95 cheeseheads, 95 delegates, and you can bet the governor will be wearing his.
What are your thoughts about everyone in the delegation wearing the cheese hats tonight?
You know,
you got to have fun, right? You got to have fun. And wearing a cheese hat is one of our emblems that we wear proudly. And I know some people are going to say, oh, that's really corny, but Wisconsinites got to have fun. And that's one way of doing it.
And now the Democratic Party chair, Ben Winkler, told the group that they are responsible for their own cheesehead, and he wants everyone wearing them tonight. And we have a programming note to pass along for the rest of the week as well. CBS says it will be expanding its primetime DNC coverage both tomorrow and also Thursday night.
So that coverage will begin at 8 p.m. instead of 9 p.m. So because of that, our DNC streaming show is going to begin at 7:30 on channel3000.com.
And we're bumping it up a half hour, and Vice President Harris's speech is set to begin in Milwaukee at 8, so our 7:30 streaming coverage will lead right into her 8 p.m. speech. You can watch, again, both of them at channel3000.com.
Coming up on News 3 Now at 6, the Dane County Medical Examiner's Office gives an update on a deadly officer-involved shooting.
And we have more coverage, of course, from Chicago. The Democratic National Convention, Day 2. Our coverage continues. Stay with us.
Watching News 3 Now at 6. Brought to you by Gruber Law Offices.
If you've been seriously injured in a car accident, watch out.
The insurance company's job is to do what's best for them, not you.
Don't trust the insurance company after your accident. You can miss out on what you really deserve. Call Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Tens of millions of roofs across America are failing, wearing out decades early and leaking, oftentimes without you knowing about it, causing tremendous damage. Here's how you know you have a problem with your roof. Black streaking, your roof looks rough, or granules shedding off into your gutters or showing up in your driveway. Your roof is wearing out too fast, and it's going to cost you a bundle. RoofMax makes your roof like new by strengthening and rejuvenating it. So give us a call, and we'll give you a free assessment to see if your roof qualifies.
We know the fentanyl coming from Mexico and China is a threat here in Wisconsin.
It's why Tammy Baldwin is working to stop it.
And Tammy passed the bipartisan Fend Off Fentanyl Act.
It takes on the Mexican cartels and the fentanyl coming from China.
And Tammy Baldwin voted 32 times to strengthen our border.
32 times to increase border patrols.
And technology to keep illegal drugs out. Because Senator Baldwin knows
keeping us safe is her first priority.
Tell Tammy Baldwin to keep securing our borders.
Okay, guys, we're all here because U.S. Cellular has an incredible deal. Right now, you can get 4 lines for just $90.
Sorry, just double checking. Is it really that good of a deal?
Yeah. It's a huge deal. You also get 4 free phones of your choice.
4 free phones! Wow, I just triple checked and that's awesome.
So go get that deal. Or at least help me clip. Did you check the expiration dates?
Oh, I can do that.
Great.
Get 4 free phones of your choice with no trade-in needed, plus 4 lines for $90.
Tomorrow morning, our live coverage of the DNC continues from Chicago. We'll set the stage for Day 3 of the convention and recap the speech from tonight from Barack Obama. That's tomorrow on News 3 Now this morning.
You're watching News 3 Now at 6. Moving forward.
Welcome back to our coverage of the Democratic National Convention here in Chicago from the Lincoln Park Zoo. Right now, we're going to step away from the convention for just a little bit.
Now we're going to go back to our Madison studios where Jalen Banks joins us. He's standing by with today's local headlines. Jalen?
And Charlotte, we'll be back to you in just a second, but now to some more local news. The Dane County Medical Examiner's Office is identifying the man who was killed in an officer-involved shooting last week. That person is 28-year-old Kevin Price of Madison. The incident happened at the Whispering Pines condominiums in Fitchburg last Monday. Officers allegedly found a couple having an altercation. Police say Price was armed with a knife and charged at officers, at which that point one officer fired his gun and struck him. Price was pronounced dead at a local hospital last Thursday. The incident remains under investigation. Tonight, Madison City Council is holding a special meeting to decide if a referendum will be on the November ballot to fix the city's structural deficit. Tanisha Shaw spoke to the mayor and an alder about what's at stake.
If Madison's Common Council votes for the referendum, voters will decide if they will see an increase in property taxes next year.
We are not happy to be in this situation.
Tonight, alders will decide if there will be a referendum question on the ballot in November. Mayor Satya Rhodes Conway proposed a $22 million property tax increase last month. Yesterday, Alder Marsha Ramel proposed a different amount, equaling $27 million.
Could benefit households whose properties are below the median value of houses in Madison. So I think it's a very interesting idea.
In an effort to lower taxes, which is a little confusing because it's raising taxes to lower taxes. I wish it would have been introduced a couple of weeks ago so people could have a chance to weigh in.
Both the mayor and members of the Common Council agreed that the need for the referendum stems from levy limits put into place by former Governor Scott Walker.
Is still a relatively new phenomenon. It's something that's only been around in Wisconsin since 2005. So what the council is doing tonight is historic. This is the first time the city of Madison has ever gone to a referendum to ask to increase the levy limit.
I just think it's really important that people understand he changed the levy limit from being one that accounted for inflation and accounted for new growth in the community to one that only accounted for new growth and not inflation.
If Common Council approves the referendum tonight, and if voters approve it in November, residents will see an increase in property taxes.
I think that what we would see if the voters choose not to go to accept a referendum is that we would need to make some pretty deep cuts into city services in the next year, and even deeper cuts over the next 5 years.
Reporting in Madison, News 3 Now, Tanasia Shaw.
Tanasia, thank you. Now, the virtual meeting starts at 6:30 p.m. right after our show ends. We have a link to that right now on our website at channel3000.com. And now, a Madison athlete will represent the USA team for Special Olympics. Annie Mulligan will represent Special Olympics Wisconsin in snowshoe racing. Mulligan has been involved with Special Olympics for over 10 years. Special Olympics USA will send a 160-member delegation to represent the U.S. at the Special Olympics World Games Turin in 2025. The event will be held from March 8th through the 16th. Athletes will compete in 8 sports that are offered: alpine skiing, cross-country skiing, dance sport, figure skating, floorball, snowboarding, snowshoeing, and speed skating. And there's still more ahead on News 3 Now at 6. After the break, we head back to Chicago for more coverage of the Democratic National Convention. And it may be a little while before we see some rain. Jacob has a complete forecast when we come back.
Your child's confidence stems from learning and seeing clearly. At Shopko Optical, our professional team will help your child start their journey of confidence by providing quality eye care in a warm and comfortable environment. Schedule their back-to-school exam at shopko.com.
Get an 11% rebate on brand new appliances now at Menards. You need reliable and energy-efficient appliances to conquer the day. Menards is your one-stop shop with the largest in-stock appliance selection ready to take home today. Check out our top appliance brands including KitchenAid, Maytag, Whirlpool, Amana, and Criterion. Save over $675 on this Maytag washer and dryer pair after sale price and 11% rebate.
Save big money at Menards.
My day is packed.
Client meetings, patient rounds, getting kids out the door.
But Eric Hovde thinks all women care about is Hollywood.
It's just deplorable. Sadly, with females, they spend too much time focused on what's going on in Hollywood.
Well, guess what, Eric Hovde?
We know you supported overturning Roe versus Wade.
And we know you'd vote for a national abortion ban, too.
Eric Hovde must think he knows better than us.
What is wrong with this guy?
I'm Tammy Baldwin, and I approve this message.
We went to Ho Chunk Gaming Madison last night.
I don't really get how the jackpots work.
Ho Chunk Gaming Madison actually has had multiple million-dollar winners.
There are linked progressive slot machines at the same casino where local players increase the jackpot amount.
And a standalone progressive jackpot increases when a player plays on an individual machine that isn't linked to any other machine. Ho Chunk Gaming Madison. More ways to win. Find your perfect jackpot.
Ho Chunk Gaming Madison.
Drive into summer with a new Honda Accord Hybrid, CR-V Hybrid, or the all-new Civic Hybrid. Take a vacation, staycation, or just a weekend drive with the windows down. Whatever you do, make it epic with Honda. the 2024 Kelley Blue Book's KBB.com Best Overall EV and Hybrid Brand. So act now. Buy online, reserve from select dealers, or hurry into the Honda Summer Event.
Everyone's vision needs are unique. At Shopko Optical, our caring team of professionals will work with you to ensure your vision is at its best. Shopko Optical can help you experience every detail, color, and breathtaking sight in clarity.
You're watching News 3 Now at 6. Moving forward.
And welcome back as our coverage continues live from Chicago's Lincoln Park Zoo of the Democratic National Convention. And you know, Democratic Party enthusiasm has really surged since Kamala Harris took over as the party's presidential nominee.
Our Merrill Hubbard is on the floor of the United Center where the crowd's energy is increasing as Democrats hope to keep the momentum going.
We are seeing the United Center get more packed now as people are getting excited to hear from some big-name speakers. We are seeing lots of energy and excitement from people both inside and out of the United Center. With Harris and Walz revamping their campaign, we've seen them invite a larger focus on young generations, Black Americans, women, and people from the Midwest. We spoke to former Lieutenant Governor of Wisconsin, Mandela Barnes, about the momentum of the party, which he says has increased organically.
The thing about organic energy and enthusiasm is that it lasts, is that it is self-sustaining in many ways, but it doesn't even need to be self-sustaining because there's so many people who are willing to pour even more into this campaign. I don't think we've reached the peak yet, to be honest with you.
We will hear from Michelle and Barack Obama soon, which will only boost the crowd's enthusiasm for the Democratic Party. Coming up tonight in our coverage, I'm talking to delegates about what it means to them to represent the Harris-Walz campaign. Reporting in Chicago, Merrill Hubbard, News 3 Now.
Quiet weather for much of the week. Let's head back to Madison, where meteorologist Jacob Montesano has the first warn forecast. Hi, Jacob.
Hey, Charlotte, welcome back. It's going to be a very nice week for really here and Chicago as we're going to see comfortable temperatures through the work week, but we are going to see some warmer temperatures as we head towards the weekend. However, both when the temperatures are below average to when they're above average, we are going to see very little rainfall, just a few isolated showers here and there, but beyond that, we won't see much. So looking at the overnight forecast, it will be a little bit chilly. Lows will be dropping into the lower 50s, maybe upper 40s for a few locations with partly cloudy skies and cool conditions. For tomorrow, pretty similar to today across southern Wisconsin. We'll have sunshine, maybe a few degrees warmer, but still we're going to see highs in the middle to lower 70s. But unfortunately, the comfortable weather will not last forever. And looking at the muggy meter for the rest of the week, it will start to increase around Thursday and Friday, but especially as we head towards the weekend, we are going to see some humid conditions, especially Sunday, where we could see that the dew point up to around 70 to 75, with heat index values possibly creeping up into the lower 90s. But like I mentioned, we aren't expecting much rain. And here's a look at the rainfall and cloud cover forecast. Again, sunshine for Wednesday. We'll see plenty of sunshine for Thursday as well. But as we get into Friday, we'll see a little bit more cloud cover, but we're still expecting mostly dry conditions. A few isolated showers are possible, especially overnight into Saturday, but the rain will be very brief and likely will be pretty light. And by the afternoon hours Saturday, it looks like we'll see sunshine again with maybe a round of rain overnight Saturday into Sunday, but Sunday afternoon is expected to be dry once again as well. So looking at the percentage chances for the day times and night times over the next 7 days, we're going to remain mainly dry for the most part. Again, a few chances of some isolated showers Friday during the day through Sunday during the day, and that includes the overnight hours. But beyond that, we will not see much. Now, looking at the full 10-day forecast, here's some good news for those of you that aren't a fan of these warmer temperatures. They are going to slowly cool back down throughout next week after Monday. It looks like Sunday and Monday will be the peak days in terms of the warmest temperatures, but we could see highs back in the 70s by Thursday, looks more likely by Friday. And if this trend continues, we could be talking about a very comfortable Labor Day weekend. Still too early to say that for sure, but the trends are suggesting it will be similar to what it was today and what it will be tomorrow for that weekend. But before that, this weekend will be warm, but perhaps these will be the warmest temperatures we see going forward, considering the average high temperature is starting to decrease at this time of year. We'll be right back.
News 3 Now First Warn Weather is brought to you by Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor.
Discover a shopping and design experience as comfortable as the furniture. Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor. Schedule your free design consultation today.
At USA Insulation, we fix hot homes. Over 7 out of 10 homes are poorly insulated. Is yours? Here are some of the signs. Is your house too cold in the winter? Is it too hot in the summer? Does your furnace and AC run almost non-stop? Do you have different temperatures in different rooms? Are your energy bills too high? You don't need a new home. You need better insulation. And right now, when we foam your walls, we'll insulate your attic for free.
USA Insulation.
TDS Fiber Internet makes our home smarter. Working, playing, living, learning. It's all better with TDS Fiber Internet because it's faster, more reliable. It's award-winning internet served up by friendly local folks. It's what keeps us connected. And isn't that what it's all about? Say hello to internet that hits different. Say hello to TDS.
I'm Vice President of the National Border Patrol Council. America needs a commander-in-chief who's tough on illegal immigration. Kamala Harris fails that test.
We're not going to treat people who are undocumented across the border as criminals. That's correct. That is correct.
Kamala was Biden's border czar. She supported sanctuary cities and taxpayer benefits for illegal immigrants. And she created the worst border crisis in American history. Kamala Harris is dangerous.
Preserve America PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
50 years ago, I prayed this prayer, and it changed my life, and it can change your life. You see, I was just sick and tired of being sick and tired, and my life was in a mess. And I just got on my knees one night, and I said, God, I've sinned against you. I'm sorry. Forgive me. And I said, I believe Jesus Christ is your Son, and I believe that he took my sins to the cross, and he died and shed his blood for my sins, and that he was buried, and that you raised him to life, and I'd like to invite him to come into my heart right now. And I prayed that prayer, and God heard my prayer, and he forgave me, and he'll forgive you, and he'll cleanse you and change your life starting today. Just pray this prayer as I say, God, I'm a sinner. I'm sorry. Forgive me. I believe Jesus is your Son. I want to trust him as my Savior and follow him as my Lord from this day forward. Amen. If you prayed that prayer, I want you to call right now that number that's on the screen. Call that number, and may God bless you.
And we are wrapping up our live coverage from Chicago News 3 now at 6, and it is a huge night on tap here at the United Center in Chicago, and as we mentioned, also up in Milwaukee at Fiserv Forum. And we do want to pass along a programming reminder that'll really apply to the rest of the week. CBS expanding its primetime coverage of the Democratic National Convention, and that starts tomorrow night.
That coverage will start at 8 p.m. instead of 9 p.m. So because of this, our DNC streaming show will now begin at 7:30 on channel3000.com. And that's starting tonight. Yeah. That coverage is going to lead right into Vice President Kamala Harris's scheduled 8 p.m. speech at Fiserv Forum in Milwaukee. And you can watch both in their entirety on channel3000.com.
All right, so that's all the time we have for now. We thank you for watching News 3 Now at 6.
We'll be back after CBS network coverage later tonight for a late edition of News 3 Now at 10, all live from Chicago. Enjoy your evening.